Okay, here we are back again, and we are ready to begin lesson 8 in chapter 6. This whole chapter so far has been about multiplying decimals, and the last lesson was about finding patterns. So today we're going to talk about multiplication properties. This is kind of like the addition properties that we learned when we were adding and subtracting decimals. And the reason that we learn about these is because they're rules that tell us what is okay to do and what might actually make it easier for us to solve problems quicker. So, knowing these properties and knowing what you can do kind of is supposed to cut the time in half for you. All right, so let's look. It says example 1. This is page 423. A coach had 16 players in each of 2 groups. Each player scored 5 goals. Find the total number of goals scored. So this is find 16 times 2 times 5. Since you can easily multiply 2 and 5, change the way the numbers are grouped. The associative property of multiplication states that the way in which the factors are grouped together does not change the product. So that's the same as the associative property in addition, right? We saw parentheses because we were indicating that they were getting grouped together. And when we saw parentheses, we knew that they wanted to associate with each other. So we knew that was the associative property. It's easier to find 2 times 5 than 16 times 2. So you can group the numbers differently to find 2 times 5 first. So just switch them around. 2 times 5 is 10. 16 times 10 is, box the basic fact, 16 times 1, add the 0, 160, easy peasy. So the total number of goals scored is 160. So that whole thing was just about regrouping the numbers and putting the ones together that you like to solve first to make it easier for you. Associative. All right, the commutative property is the next one. So we're going to find the unknown in this equation. 35 and 5/10 times what equals 17 times 35 and 5/10? So the commutative property of multiplication shows that the order in which the factors are multiplied does not change the product. So in this case, 35 and 5/10 times 17, this 35 and 5/10 is first times 17. It's the same exact thing as if 17 were first, 17 times 35 and 5/10. So the unknown here is 17. Okay, it's just because this is the same thing as this, just flipped around. And then the last one, similar to addition, is the identity property. However, identity in multiplication and addition are different. We always want to see ourselves on the other side. The number wants to see itself on the other side. In the property of addition, identity in addition, it's plus 0, right? 17 plus 0 would equal 17 in addition. But that's not the same in multiplication. 17 times 0 would not give me 17. It would give me 0. So that won't work. That's not the identity. Then the number has not found its identity on the other side of the equal sign in that case. What do I multiply 17 by to get an answer of 17? 17 times what equals 17? It's 1, right? In multiplication, any number times 1 is itself. So the identity property of multiplication states that the product of any factor and 1 equals that factor. So 17 times 1 equals 17. All right, so we're going to draw lines in this guided practice here. We're going to draw lines to match the multiplication property that's shown in each equation. Okay, so 6 and 2/10 times 100 is the same as if it were flipped, 100 times 6 and 2/10. That is the commutative property because it's just rearranging the numbers. Okay, in this one, right off the bat, I'm seeing parentheses. So some red lights should be flashing in your mind. Like, I know that. I know when I see parentheses, that is called yes, that is called the associative property. It's just changing the grouping of the number. Here it's 8 times 2 times 3. Well, maybe it's easier for you to figure out 2 times 3 first and then multiply 8. And then the last one, times 1. Whenever I see a times 1, I'm going to just pick identity. All right. I just want to show you how they want you to do 4, 5, 6, and 7 here, because this is when it can get a little tricky. You're not just identifying properties, you're actually like showing how you would use them. So in here, they have 5.1 or 5 and 1/10 times 2 times 50. Okay, well, I don't know this. Remember, the whole point is to be able to do it mentally. So I don't know this quickly mentally. However, if I rearrange them, and I say, okay, 2 times 50, that's easy. I know what that is, times 5 and 1/10. That's easier for me, right? Because 2 times 50 is 100. And I learned the other day that when I'm multiplying by a power of 10, I just move the decimal point however many zeros is here. So I'm going to move the decimal point 1, 2 places. Placeholder there, that decimal disappears. I'm going to get 510. And look at how easy that was. I didn't need a calculator. I didn't need to solve this. It was very easy for me. This one, they want you to think of quarters. So 4, they want you to put 4 and 2 and 5/10 together and then multiply by 6. And if you think about 4 quarters equaling a whole, 4 times 2.5 equals 10. Then you can do 10 times 6. All right. So you can work on the rest, 425 and 426. And here I am if you have any questions.